Been suffering with a very bad back. He's been very courageous through the U.S. Championships, the compulsories yesterday. His partner, Suzy Semanick, she's the one who fell yesterday. Scott is not wearing a brace tonight for the first time. Now, this was in the waltz, which should be very simple, and suddenly they went down. It was a really very embarrassing, very dramatic thing that happened. Now, watch the skates. This is what happened. The skates touched, caught, the toe picks caught, and down they went. There were 60 performances in all yesterday during the compulsories. There was only one fall, and that was it, and Suzy Semanick could do that about 1,000 times, and it would never happen again. However, they're a very interesting young couple, Suzy Semanick and Scott Gregory. Why don't we meet them right now up close and personal? Suzy and Scott. Scott Gregory has had 3 skating partners during 17 years in the sport. But Suzy Semanick is more than just a skating partner. She and Scott have a good thing going.
Suzy's brought a new spark to my life. 4 years ago, I was just at the '84 Olympics, and I didn't know whether or not I wanted to continue amateur skating. When we partnered up together, she got me going again, started my engines, changed my oil, and
Suzy and Scott spend most of their time together, whether it's training in Wilmington, Delaware, or visiting with one another's family and friends. Both have very strong family ties, and they try to get home as often as possible.
My home is really Bridgeville, Pennsylvania, where my family and I come to get together finally. But I've been training in Delaware the past 3 years, living with a great family, and I'm finally moving into my own apartment, my very first, and I'm so excited. Well, I always say I'm going to go home and relax, but as soon as my mom and I and my dad get together, we just start hitting everything. We're always creating or doing things, shopping, and we like to go to flea markets, and we like to buy old clothing and material. And it's fun because we're able to create ideas with these old things we find and make them our own by putting our own ideas into it.
The whole flower would be outlined in these.
Mother Rose Semanick makes all the pairs' costumes, and everything they wear on the ice here in Calgary is made from vintage clothing which she redesigned.
I'd like to see more of a scallop, though. See, if it was...
Scott's roots are only about 200 miles northwest of Suzy's in a place called Skaneateles, New York.
it's a homey town. Population's like 3,000. Growing up here on the lake, something that I wish every kid could do. Every time I go away, I appreciate it more and more. I want to be a part of it. Sometime later on in my life, I want to come back and do something here. I want to somehow get a career in photography going. The thing that I enjoy most about photography is the challenge of being creative. I have a lot of goals in my life that I want to achieve, and I'm going to do my darndest to achieve them. Suzy and I have committed to each other through our skating, and then in turn our personal lives have committed to each other. I would like to stay with Suzy for the rest of our skating career and possibly our whole life.
So they may keep the home fire burning together once they've set the world on fire in Calgary. And there they are. That's the live picture as they are warming up for their performance here this evening. In 6th place after the compulsory dances, despite that fall. Perhaps they can move up a little bit tonight. That's what's in their minds, you can be sure, after this word from our local station.
The thrill of competition continues. It's the 15th Olympic Winter Games as ABC's coverage continues. Once again, here's Jim McKay.
Well, this has certainly not been a Blue Monday so far for the United States. Bonnie Blair won a gold medal in speed skating, if you weren't with us earlier. Now we're into the ice dancing, and here are Suzy Semanick and Scott Gregory of the United States. Scott Gregory's doctor, speaking of the speed with which he came back from his bad back, said, I'll tell you something, Scott Gregory out-Montana'd Joe Montana. And tonight, We understand he is skating without a brace for the first time since he's been here, except for last night's practice.
From the United States, Semanick and Scott Gregory.
United States champion.
And these steps, Jim, are part of the total picture that they are conveying of this dance. The dance hasn't started yet, and there will be introductory moves. All of this is part of it.
All of the couples skating to the tango, but tango is that they themselves have selected. Very nice.
And that's the dance.
Huh? Isn't that nice?
You know, Jim, I didn't want to interrupt the flow of the dance to explain that they have to stay in those dance positions throughout the entire dance. They can even use a variety of dance positions, opening and closing and foxtrot and tango and whatever, but it has to look like a ballroom dance, and that's what this does. There are no small separations, no jumps, no little lifts that we'll see in the freestyle, and there's but just a marvelous feeling throughout the whole thing. And one other thing about them, they have really come together beautifully in the last year. Their styles used to be disparate. She was intense and very powerful, and he a happy-go-lucky guy. And you don't see that today. Now they act as one. Very nice.
And no fall tonight.
No.
Far from it.
Wasn't it good? Look at the intensity on her face. You know, at one time, I asked them what they thought of each other. He said of her, she's intense and goal-oriented and sincere and cute. And she said of him, he's patient, happy-go-lucky, and very handsome. I guess that tells you their story.
It does. The first set of marks, 5-3 to 5-6.
Presentation et notre présentation. 5.5, 5.6, 5.5.
Second set,
5.3, 5.5.
5-3 to 5-6. Tomorrow night, you'll see them live once again in their free skating program. And now down to David.
Suzy, after yesterday's freak fall, did you have to fight the urge to skate cautiously tonight?
I had to fight the urge to distribute my energy very evenly instead of all at once and then blowing it. Because it was really easy for me to go crazy. So Scott was really good in just monitoring my thing, so it was a little harder than usual.
Well, after tonight's performance, you still have a good chance for the top 5.
Thank you very
In fact, they are the leaders of those who have skated so far, but the leaders